Okay, guys, so the next thing we're going to look at is mood boards. So a mood board is how we curate visual inspiration. So a mood board is essentially a visual tool that we use to communicate the aesthetic or the sort of vibe of the project. So we can use mood boards are used in lots of different disciplines. It's not just for photography. They'll be used in branding. People even use them for events, for parties. They can be used for home decor. It's basically anywhere that we're trying to achieve a visual aesthetic. So what should we include in the mood board? So we basically want to collate all of our inspiration for the project in one space. And all of the content that we put together should have similar visual values. Let's take our chocolate brand. It's a luxurious brand. It's upper market, the palette, kind of creams and browns. Then what we need to make sure is all of the imagery that we use within that mood board is reflective of the visual values that we've established. So we can take this a step further, and rather than creating a general mood board, we can actually look at creating several different mood boards that focus in on particular areas of the project, particular visual values, if you like. So we can have one mood board for the color palette. We can have another mood board for the styling and the props, and then another mood board for the lighting style. And having these lots of different mood boards ensures that it makes it a little bit easier to find inspiration if we're looking for very specific areas, because we don't need it to match on all of those aspects. And then secondly, we can be a bit more precise when we're actually putting together the imagery, because we've got a lot of references for, okay, this is the light that we want. This is the color that we want. This is the styling. This is the props. And when we put those all together, we actually come out with something that's unique. So why do we actually want a mood board? Well, it helps to just clarify down on what the actual vision is for the project. It serves as a reference point as we're creating the content, ensuring that we're all agreed upon what it's supposed to look like. And it acts as inspiration for designing those final images. So it's very hard to just come up with an idea out of nowhere on a blank piece of paper. So we often use existing media to help inspire us. Now, there's an important caveat here: is there is a difference between using existing media to inspire us and copying. We want to avoid copying in our work because A, it's not going to be authentic to the brand, and B, you're just ripping people off. So how do we actually go about creating our mood board? So first off, we want to go out there and find our visual inspiration for the project. Now, this is something that can be done over a period of time and can be semi-passive. You might just see things on Instagram or different social media platforms or out in the real world that you like, and slowly collate it over time if you have the opportunity to do that. Now, obviously, when we're working commercially, we need to be able to produce things at speed. So I'm going to recommend a few places that are great for going out there and finding visual inspiration. Pinterest is fantastic. Instagram, again, as I said, lots of design magazines are a fantastic way to actually find inspiration. I would recommend looking at other professional photographers' websites that specialize in that particular genre of which the campaign is going to be based. Websites of other brands that inspire you. And those don't have to be brands within your industry. They can be brands who have a similar aesthetic that we want to sort of replicate, but not necessarily, we're doing chocolate, they might be doing sun cream, and just it so happens that there's some crossover in terms of the aesthetic that we're interested in. And then a final one that's quite new and useful is if you put into an AI chatbot what it is that you're looking for aesthetically, they can be quite helpful in finding images on the web for you that align with those aesthetics. I wouldn't recommend having it generate imagery though. There's lots of different places you can actually collate those mood boards. I would recommend best of all is Pinterest. You can actually even install a extension to your web browser, and that'll enable you to add in imagery from outside Pinterest into your Pinterest mood board. And then once I'm happy with all of the inspiration that I have, I'll download all of that and I'll collate that into a mood board in my photography brief. What I'd recommend for you to go and do now is to go away, look at the photography brief that we've established for our chocolate brand, and start to put together some different imagery for inspiration for this project. To conclude, let's cover everything that we've discussed here. We source inspiration that reflects the brand identity that we've established. So this is imagery that will likely resonate with our audience. We collate this wherever we see fit, my personal preference being Pinterest. And then if we need to, we break down those mood boards into covering specific areas so we can use those as points of reference and for inspiration at a later date.